Dear Bhante, dear sisters and brothers, Dhamma friends, today also we are going to start the question and answer session for discussion. We'll start it as usual with the written questions. May I invite Vincent to start the presentation of the question, please. Written questions.
Bhante, with your permission, I present the questions. Today we have 20 odd questions now. So I will begin with this one. Good afternoon, Bhante. Is it correct to say, for a beginner like me, in a sitting session, I know that I am mindful because at the start I note my body posture, I passively watch my breath, I actively observe various facets of breath, for example, coarse, subtle, long, short, etc. Sometimes I notice a pain in my leg or various parts of my body. In short, in a session, by passively watching my breath, not controlling it, and by actively note various characteristics of the breath, I am approaching mindfulness for that session. Thank you.
As far as the beginner is concerned, this is a good start, whereby the person knows that I am sitting and knows where to anchor the attention, the breath. Whenever time permits, whenever the object is face to face, you see different characteristics, different facets of the breath. That means you are continue to see the phenomena, and whenever you continue longer, you are increasing or improving mindfulness in two ways. One thing is more and more time you keep your primary object face to face, that is the quantity-wise increase. And whenever you are to see the long breath, short breath, cool, warm, gross, subtle, that's the qualitative difference. More and more it goes, the object observed and the observing mind become closer and closer. So facilitate it, more it becomes closer, then the mindfulness is gathered, the natural momentum. Till that, you have to facilitate like that.
Dear Bhante, how does one control hunger through meditation and mindfulness? I have got a tendency to self-medicate with food, especially when I am angry, bored, dissatisfied, or fail an exam. How do you suggest that I change this destructive behavior? Thank you.
So I read once, I don't know how far it is a fact. Whenever you are going to have a celibate life and your body, your chemical body is changing, then your main attention is to food. And out of that, the sweet food. You will get attracted to sweet. And so ultimately you will addicted without much need, you will keep on eating. So likewise, when and where you give that kind of a discipline to have a celibate life, the mind finding other ways to compensate it. So you are replacing one thing with another one, and if you are replacing a grossly bad thing with the medium one, it's okay. And later you can reduce that medium one with the subtle one. Likewise, you are changing or replacing one after the other. So therefore observe them, don't rush to a decision, and keep on accumulating information, or I would say bookkeeping, with sufficient amount of information only, you can make a decision. Don't rush at the early part of your experiment.
Dear Bhante, in lay life, there are many things we have to prepare for, long-term and short-term, physically and mentally. I think these types of preparation require thinking about the future or reflecting on past actions. In being mindful of the here and now, how can one also think of the past or future? Isn't this conflicting? How can one reconcile these very different time periods for preparation purposes and be mindful? Thank you.
So as far as your day-to-day run is concerned, my teacher, Nissarana, used to say, keep the item in a proper place so that you know this item is here. And do a routine work, then their preparation will be less. That is why the monk's life, always we have a routine. And the Buddha was the first person to introduce a timetable to oneself, and then know what is happening. So therefore, if you know where the items are, and preparation will become less, and don't go for all the complexities, make the life simple. And the other thing is the future and the plan, with the past. When you are continuing, the mind is doing it, and when it is happening, don't worry. If you are to do it with the purpose. Take the particular task that you have to plan, do it when and where you have the peace of mind, then very easy to arrive at a final conclusion. Otherwise, you will be readjusting and reshuffling everything. So therefore, soon after the meditation, or soon after the getting up from the morning, the best time to put down what you have to do. And if something past happens, or regret, or thinking or hankering behind the past, don't worry, because it is not what you are doing. It is what the mind naturally, habitually doing. Don't take responsibilities. Don't facilitate it. But don't do it effectively. If it is happening, just accept it, non-judgmental way, and that is how you have to maintain the day. And whenever the Buddha explained it to the little monk Rahula, his own son, he, after doing that, reflected again to see what is the pros and cons of that future planning and the regretting about the past and that kind of thing. Don't try to do it overnight or by single effort. Your own mistakes or your trial and error will slowly lead it to the least frictional path. And in warfare or in agriculture, we have been taught to find the critical path analysis. What is the important links you must follow? Once you draw the critical path, don't interfere with the subsidiary parts. As far as you are keeping the critical area, others follow suit.
Dear Bhante, what is the relationship between mindfulness, meditation, and concentration and effort? Mindfulness, meditation, concentration and effort.
So it says, Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. That's one way of arranging the chain reactions. The faith leading to effort, and effort becomes the proximate cause and leading to the sati, mindfulness. And once the mindfulness is become consistent, concentration happens. That concentration leads to wisdom. That's one way of presenting. So they are working as chain actions. Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. When they come up to the enlightenment factors, mindfulness becomes the forerunner, and then others accordingly. That is, whenever you are developing mindfulness, you have to start with effort, and with the effort, effort becomes the proximate factor for the mindfulness, and with mindfulness, concentration. Once you gain necessary amount of these faculties, then you are putting them in order to achieve the Nibbana. That means basically on the prime objective, not on the secular ground. They are mindfulness run first. And accordingly, others follow suit. And when you come up to the Noble Eightfold Path, the Samma Vayama, Samma Sati, Samma Samadhi, again, they align in such a way, effort leading to the mindfulness and mindfulness leading to the concentration. That is how they adjust on the way of 37 factors of enlightenment. So you have to be strategic then and there. As a beginner, it always says, effort is the proximate cause for the mindfulness, and mindfulness, continuity of the mindfulness is the proximate cause for the concentration.
Dear Bhante, during breathing meditation in a sitting position, I have experienced the following. I start with relaxing the body from head to toe and back up. Then I start to focus on the breath and the sensation within my nostrils. After about 10 to 15 minutes, I feel pain mainly along my collarbone, but I can still continue observing the pain, which comes and goes. Sometimes I feel my whole body is numb. Sometimes I feel a cooling sensation from inside, which is quite pleasant. Sometimes I feel a discomfort in my abdomen area, which is not painful or uncomfortable, and I feel like I want to stop. Other times, I feel nauseated. I feel I am going in the right direction, but each time the experiences are different, as the observations I noted all don't happen in the same session. Please help me to understand how to progress. May you be blessed with good health along your path to Nibbana.
It's not a question, it's a statement. Isn't it?
He's asking how should I. Please help me to understand how to progress.
Yeah, that one single question, if that particular person is, if he or she is happy, we can go further into. First question is, whenever you sit, feeling this heaviness, feeling this nauseative situation, feeling this, all the sensation in the body, does it happen due to your sensitivity of the mindfulness or as a result of mindfulness, or happening as a distraction for mindfulness? Disturbing mindfulness, which way you are going to see, how do you look at them, that indicates your attitude, and that is what we have to discuss. And further, if that particular person is happy to present, answer the question, then we can proceed. Otherwise, please include that in your report whenever these things happen, appear like a disturbance, distraction, or is it happening because of the sensitivity of your mindfulness? That indicates your direction of your mind. That no one is responding, so we are proceeding.
The next one. What is the difference between a meditator practicing walking meditation and a circus performer practicing walking on the tightrope? Will the circus guy get enlightened too?
So the Buddha is giving that Sedaka Sutta, I think. Sedaka Sutta, and the Buddha is going a place where two people are doing acrobats. And the master is telling to the disciple, I will balance a pole, bamboo pole, on my shoulder, and the disciple has to climb up and balance on top of the pole. So the master says, I will take care about you keeping the balance in the pole, and you also must be very careful about my balance and climb it in such a way without giving so much of jerks and all the kind of thing. There the disciple is telling Master, you take care about your balance, I will take care about my balance, and I can't take care about your balance. So then the Buddha is asking whether master or the disciple is correct. Master says, I will take care about your balance, you take care about my balance. Disciple is telling the master, you must take care about your balance, I'll take care about my balance. So then that the Buddha the give and advice take in this situation, I think this will partly answer the question. What do you think? What is the person who has written the question think, the master correct or the disciple is correct? Then we can understand, yes? Disciple is correct. That is the Sutta. But the Buddha says, be mindful and mind your own business. That's it. So, tightrope walking or you are doing walking meditation, wherever it may be, as far as you know what you are doing, it's okay. So, whether the mindful, the person walking on the tightrope, going to the enlightenment or to the hell, I don't know. And one day I went to Toronto and I gave instructions about walking left, right, right. And there were criticism, if the left and right is leading to Nibbana, all the army people must be enlightened. They are also doing left and the right. So likewise that you can see it, but there you have to understand the meaning of mindfulness. Very first day there was a question, what's the difference between mindful walking and unmindful walking? Only the mindful people can answer it because they are worried not about the task they are performing, they are worried about the balance in and there. They are worried about the mindfulness. So whether you are walking, sitting, doing day-to-day activities, the technical part is not the most important. Important is the end result. Am I mindful? Am I contented? Am I doing it in my solitude way and the peace of mind? If it is so, then and there you can reduce the tension and the frustration. These are the yardstick to measure. Whenever you are doing mindfully, whenever you are successful in mindfulness, your tension and the frustration reduced. Whatever it is increasing your tension, whatever it is increasing your frustration, is not the proper way of mindfulness. At the beginning, of course, to be mindful, you are imposing kind of a tension and frustration. But later it is reducing. That is one way you can understand whether you are on the correct path or not.
Dear Bhante, I wore earplugs during a couple of sitting meditation sessions. As a result, I was able to hear my own breath and heartbeat. 1. Would you recommend or discourage wearing earplugs during meditation? 2. If you can hear your own heartbeat, is it okay to use it as your primary object of focus?
You may start again because early part was not...
Yeah, sorry. I wore earplugs during a couple of sitting meditation sessions. As a result, I was able to hear my own breath and heartbeat. 1. Would you recommend or discourage wearing earplugs during meditation? 2. If you can hear your own heartbeat, is it okay to use it as your primary object of focus?
Yeah, whatever thing you are using, external thing, may be recommended at the beginning, but you must be independent and you must be free of all the things and formulas and all the memories and everything. Then only you become suffering and you will be innocent and you will be direct. So you use accordingly. Once I tried and I found it is very disturbing because getting warm up inside the body, inside the ear, and then I found uncomfortable. So that is my personal experience. And sounds are not much distracting me, but it depends. So you can do it. And the heartbeat is concerned, as far as it is happening here and now, it's a good indication that you are here and now. And when children are crying, the mother, what she is doing is keeping the child's ear close to the heart. And then the child start to listen to the old music while it was inside the womb. It was exactly the same vibration of the mother's heartbeat. So whenever my child is crying, mother keeping here. So heartbeat is the most close rhythmic sound we hear. And I heard the Beethoven in his pastoral music. He tried to give the heartbeat kind of a music, so people naturally get attracted. Because it is very aesthetic. But if you are with heart attack, then it is very distant. Because heartbeat is going to become very fast and you become tensed. But otherwise, heartbeat is a kind of a natural thing. And if you are not mindful, you won't hear. You are distracted. But whenever the mindful happens, it can. But it is, you can't say it must. So likewise, your body weight, and you feel the heat cold, and you feel the heartbeat. And sometimes some people feel kind of a tingling sensation at the tip of the fingers, earlobes, close to third eyelid, and at the nostril level, they are the nerve ends, and they become little titillated. So that indicates the mind is introvert, mind is inside. So that will be a good thing, heartbeat, but don't chase behind it.
Dear Bhante, I am most grateful for your guidance and this opportunity to practice. I currently am caring for my dear father as he is terribly ill. During walking meditation yesterday, I had a thought of my father. He is a most wonderful being, and instantly my mind was no longer on my soles of my feet. I had tears streaming and I observed a choking sensation in my throat. I observed a most heaviness in my heart. I observed pressure in my chest. I stopped walking, observed these new body sensations. Then I returned the mind to the soles of my feet, resumed my walking mindfully, and the sadness of the various other body sensations and the tears ceased and quickly as they came. Is this correct practice?
So we never come back to your primary object, in this case the souls. If the mind naturally land into the souls and continue, anything happened before is dead and gone, become null and void. So therefore anything you do, bad or good, you can erase it off and be again neutral. We never come back to the primary object and see whether you feel like coming at home, whether mind come and be with the primary object in the natural landing. That indicates all thing, it is becoming null and void. And the other part is, whenever you feel your beloved one, if you feel tensed, if you feel stress, the Buddha complained you don't have compassion. The compassion and the stress can't live in the same heart. So whatever you do without the stress, without the tense situation is the compassionate one. Venerable Sariputta says, Vihesa and Karuna, two cannot live together. If you have Vihesa, that means worrying about, become tense, and become worked up with that situation, that means your mind is not prepared to help someone. If you are doing it with someone's sick mind, worried mind, and the compassion without worrying is the pure one. So therefore, whenever you feel compassionate towards others, you must not be worried about that. You must not be tense about that. You do utmost. It is called random act of kindness. So otherwise, if you get emotionally involved and worked up, that means your compassion is not top class. So therefore, whenever you do mindful walking, as far as you are mindful, you are radiating compassion to the whole world. Because your mind is free of tension. It is free of worries. So whenever you do your mindfulness, mindful meditation, it's a kind of a good vibration you are emitting. not only to your beloved father, to everyone. Mata yata niyam puttang ayusha ekaputta manurakhe. Evampi sabba bhutesu manasambhave aparimana. The Buddha says, just like a mother radiating the loving kindness to her own child, you must radiate mindfulness to all beings, all the beings. Then it becomes very, very universal that compassion is unblemished. So, do help mindfully without getting moved by the compassion, getting moved by the emotions. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. So you have to understand the difference between the vihesa and the compassion, and how mindfulness go in between without falling into the emotional trap or any kind of thing. Do whatever necessary to do without getting carried away by the emotion. That must be the best for a health worker. So that once you meditate, you develop kind of a healing power. It's a telepathic way. You can do it. But here also be aware how much you are worrying, how much you are worked up with, how much you are emotionally taken off, so much so your mindfulness is distracted. Try to compromise just to keep the mindfulness intact. That is good for you as well as for your father and to the whole world.
Bhante, how important is the conceptual understanding of Dhamma teachings for developing mindfulness and meditation?
The sound is, you have to reduce the volume or you have to keep the mic a little far away.
How important is a conceptual understanding of Dhamma teachings for developing mindfulness and meditation?
So it is necessary. That is why I try to mention there's three kinds of understanding or knowledges. First, listening or book knowledge or theory. Second thing is inferential knowledge, rational knowledge. And the third one is put into practice and under the nose experience. So they are related to each other. Start with the theoretic knowledge and then go for rationalization or the inferential way, and then you put into that practice. Because the mindfulness or that kind of a neutral situation never get assimilated by your own thinking. It is always happening by listening. The Buddha mentioned, Dve me bhikkhave pacchaya sammaditya upadaya katame dve paratocha goso ajjata yodiso manasikaro. For monks, the correct view to arise, there are two proximate factors. First thing is listen from the others, because it is never by within. Second thing is understanding it in its correct context, in the direct perspective, then only you put into practice. So listening, that was the only method was available at that time. It's exactly the thing we call the conceptual knowledge or book knowledge. This is the starting point.
Venerable Sir, good afternoon. You have mentioned children often. We are not so lucky, whether raised spiritually, religiously or not. Our path to these cushions may have taken years, mistakes and false starts. Sorry. Continuing on the question of right livelihood in the belly of the beast, can you speak to the importance of continuity, discipline, finding Sangha and any other resources you have seen applied successfully in your travels to places where Buddhism is tolerated but hardly encouraged outside of insular language ethnic enclaves? With reverence, Mark.
So that finding places is always discouraging. You have to find a better place than the present. Then only we will keep on doing. Because wherever you go, the human error and all the kind of things are there. In my life, I met two great characters like Venerable Sri Jnanarama and Venerable Pandita Sayadaw. So when I'm looking at, I try to see from all the perspectives like a spy, how these people, monks, maintain this balance. And whole life is for meditation. And by looking at them, their silent sermon is very, very important. And I was a radical rascal. I was doing all the bad things when I'm reaching them. They never put down me. They don't know that I am spying. And they are more and more I become closer. I feel I am so lucky. Not that originally I am a lucky person. I was searching and going for sense pleasure and all the kind of things. So the Buddha mentioned association with the good people is very, very important. That is your celibate life. And if I am not disturbing you people, I venerate Bhikkhu Bodhi. So living in a place like here and in a access to you people, it's a blessing. So first day I come here, I told Bhante, it is like going to India. For Buddhist people, we go to the way, pay respect to the places, 4 places in India. So I came from New Jersey to pay respect to Bhante, and I told Bhante, it is like a pilgrimage to come to you and live with you. And the way he is living, I'm not Bhante praising unwantedly, not dragging your attention to something. So whenever such a thing happens, you have to assimilate that we can't create it. Only we can make use, we can facilitate it and follow suit. So I am the luckiest person, one of the luckiest person, because after passing Venerable Jnanarama and Venerable Pandita Sayadaw, still I have this kind of a role models. So don't expect them in dozens or gross. It is single fold. You have to see, whenever you see it, you might adhere to it just like a magnet, follow. And if you are going to compare this and that, I'm sorry. Venerable Jnanarama used to say, whenever you go there, believe it is the best on the earth. Follow it. And once it comes out to the level, that situation will lead to another higher levels. But while you are practicing in a place, don't look here and there and compare this and that. It's an utter wastage of time. When you go there and select the person, consider this the best. This is the extreme best. And so you're following it wholeheartedly. And if he's a good person, your friend, your spiritual guide, he or she will lead you further and further. Relativity is the main, relativity is the key. You must not go for the absolute truth or absolute correct thing. You must go what is better than the present situation. Then there is a journey. Don't go for absolutes. Go for relative values.
Dear Bhante, if my primary object is a concept and I focus on it in the form of a word, sometimes this word starts to transform visually. For example, if I see the word in gold, it may turn silver. Should I let this happen? Let this transformation happen, while still thinking of the concept? Or do I try to prevent the word from changing visually? Thank you.
What's the first sentence?
If my primary object is a concept, and I focus on it in the form of a word, sometimes this word starts to transform visually.
So if you are to believe visual objects, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching and thinking, everything coming from the same source. So whatever the source, if you reduce back, if you regress back, it is same energy. The same energy make a word, make epithets and examples and visualization, everything. So wherever it may be manifested, when you go back to the source, everything coming from the same. So therefore, starting point never mind. Come to the center. regress back to the center. At the center, whether it's a concept, or it's a reality, or whether it's a word, or whether it's anything, boil down to the same. So we are on the way home, way back home. So no problem. But as far as you know, it is a concept. The jugglery between the concept and reality, the magic between the concept and reality is something we have to understand. I think tomorrow we will go a little further. Whenever feeling happens, how we will be taken for a ride by a concept, or we will be come back verifying reality. So there you can understand how is the dreaming happens, how we get carried away by a mirage, or how we get carried away by a magics. So these things are kind of mind games. The Buddha called consciousness is a magician. It can play, it can change, it can give anything as like anything. So therefore, whatever the way it manifests, don't go exaggerating, just try to go back to the source. That is called Joniso Manasikara, or radical reflection or wise reflection. No problem, as far as you know it is a concept.
What should the cultivator do if their close family members don't want them to meditate or go to Buddhist lectures, monasteries and retreats? Is it okay to lie what one is doing to spare disharmony in the family? If not, what should one say?
What is the first sentence, first part?
Yeah, what should the cultivator do if their close family members don't want them to meditate or go to Buddhist monasteries, lectures and retreats?
So I had some Muslim people, they are very, very devoted, and they know, openly they can let the others know in the family, due to their basic values. So one person told that he is an accountant, well educated and a very nice personality. He come and sit among the other meditators, and he has so much of altruistic feeling about the meditators. So one day I asked him, how do you deal with this question? He says, I tell my wife, I am going to meditation center. If someone asks, tell that I have gone on a pilgrim. And last time when we are doing mindful school, not mindful school, of course we had a open one-day session and inviting children and other religious people also. And I had a very nice, beautiful girl with a Sri Lankan attire and walking with me happily. And I stopped and asked, do you know how to do walking meditation? She told, I don't know. I'm just walking. I told that I have seen you are sitting. You know how to sit? I don't know. She come with the mother and just sit, just walk. Then I told her, why don't you ask your mother, and she will, the mother is here, she can tell what is happening, what to do, how to do walking and sitting. And that's it. And evening after the Dhamma talk, I told that girl is sitting, and she developed a kind of a relation. She directly came to me and paid respect. Then I asked, where is your mother? Of course, there was another young lady with me. No, she is not my mother. Mother is there. And the mother came. Then I told her, we have some material how to teach walking and sitting for the girls. Would you mind to teach them? Then she told, I am Muslim. I told, it doesn't matter. You are used to come here. And no one day I am just newcomer, 3 months only, I don't know. Then I asked this question. How does your family members relate with this, and you are openly coming to a Buddhist gathering and kind of thing? I know I have to be very careful. I am handling it in a very graceful way, not creating problem. And this may not be multi-ethnic problem. Even within the Buddhist circles, it is happening. When I was at the age of 26, 27, 28, when I am going to Nilambe, I have to reason it out to my mother. What is wrong with me? They consider I am mad or I am psychologically upset. Maybe my love affair is gone. Or there may be some disappointment. Why not? Otherwise, why you are going to the forest? So my mother is a very devoted Buddhist. So daily I have to reason her, telling that it is my solitude. She never believed, consider it as a something negative message to her. Imagine if I am a married person and if I am reasoning to the wife, situation will be double fold, triple fold. So when the Buddha renunciating, that was the situation with the mother, father of the father, mother was from their father, the wife, the child. So he ran away. Don't follow suit. But that's the way he did it. And when it was Sariputra's younger brother, everyone set a wedding. And he has no way, so he nimbly wed. And now, of course, according to their tradition, the wife is the responsible now, not the father and mother, because now he is married to a wife. But he is today married. And they are going along the forest. And he told, ask wife's permission to go to the forest. And wife told he wanted to go to the toilet or something like that, gave the permission, he ran to the monastery. With the permission of the wife. So you must have that kind of common sense. But very difficult, I know. But I did it in my prime time in my life. I have my first-hand experience, how to deal with everyone. At last they told that I must go to a psychiatrist. I said, why not? Yes, I will go there, but I don't pay the bus, the transport. I won't pay for the psychiatrist. But whatever the psychiatrist say, you have to accept. That's my eldest brother told. So what is wrong with you? You see, it is even in the Buddhist world. So therefore, a number of ways for renouncing that you people are affectionate with the family members, so you have to pay back. So keep them in the due respect or due relationship rather than affectionate this thing. Ultimately, you have to pay back. So some people get attracted to their own teachers, their own centers, their own meditation techniques. Problem. You have to use utility value. So I gave some examples. I hope it will do enough for the moment.
Dear Bhante, I have heard and read that once one has developed some mindfulness, he or she should use the penetrative power of the mind to do insight meditation in order to achieve the final goal. Is this accurate? If so, what advice would you give a beginner with some basic mindfulness?
This is a biased statement because this is the way insight biased people do it. But there is another way, the concentration biased people or tranquility biased people. So mindfulness is the proximate factor for both samatha and vipassana. So penetration is not the only way. Sometimes you can associate an object and get absorbed into that object. That is what we call samatha bhavana. And after that, you purify the mind and focusing, and there the penetrative capacity can happen. So if you know your personality trait, your personality is on the vipassana or to the penetrative type, this is the way. And even then you have to say, more your time associate your primary object, the penetration is naturally happening. Only you have to keep the object and the mind face to face, longer time. Then the penetration can take place after a certain extent, after a certain proximity. For example, if you are pushing a paper clip or paper pin to a magnet, after a certain extent, the magnet will suck. Till that you have to push. When it come up to its own range, it sucks. Likewise, whenever the mindfulness keep the object of meditation and observing mind, after a certain extent they hug each other. So it's a natural phenomena, even in Vipassana.
Most Venerable Bhante, thank you for answering our questions so patiently. My question is, I have been meditating for a handful of years, with my focus being mindfulness of the breath. In fact, it has now become my safe place at times of anger, fear and anxiety. But now, during meditation, once the breath becomes almost imperceptible, I am able to reach a state where no thoughts enter my mind. I am fully awake and alert. Time even seems to go by faster, and my meditation hour is done before I even know it. At these times, however, the awareness of the breath sometimes creeps in and disturbs this otherwise calm state of mind. My safe place has now become a little annoying. How shall I proceed? Thank you.
So whenever you go deeper and deeper into the primary object, come closer, you forget the time and space. So where you don't know whether you are sitting or standing or whatever may be, and what the time is like. So that indicates while living you can die. You can rehearse the death and beyond the time and space. And again you come back to the time and space. And the Mangala Sutta, the Buddha mentioned, Asokang, Virajang, Khemang, Etam Mangala Muktavam. The auspicious thing, there is a place, there is no regret. Asoka. Virajang, there is a place, there is no blemishes or defilement. Khema, there is a place we can call as oasis. So if you, while practicing and know where the place where no regret, no defilements and oasis, this is a blessing. So that you earn by mindfulness, maybe on the breath or something like that. It is like this building like here. When if there is a fire going to break, everyone must know what is the assembly ground. If you know, you are not asking anyone, you just go to the assembly ground. If you do not know, it is not easy to teach once the building caught fire. You have to teach beforehand. So breath is, or mindfulness on the breath, may be your assembly ground, or your oasis, or your place where there is no regret, place where there is no blemishes. So you have to have a frequent association. Up to the point, the breath must become your second nature than wandering mind. Now we are with, before meditation, we are 100% wandering. And then you introduce mindfulness, and together with this reference point, breath, whatever may be. And you keep on applying, and later you find, this is my real home, the breath. And the association with the breath is the real home. All the others are abnormal things. So how is the changing from present, what we call real home is a complete bewilderment, and real home is here. From this to change into that, that is what you call ayoniso manasikara to yoniso manasikara, a wrong reflection to the correct reflection. So it is happening like electric, of course, but it's a long process to introduce mindfulness again and again to your primary object, so that you feel this as your oasis, feel this as your unblemished ground, undefiled place, and you can understand it is you are born with. Meditation has nothing to work with it. You are born with, but you are astray, you are bewildered. So mindfulness is reminding you, this is your oasis, this is your unblemished place, asokam virajam. And by meditation you gain nothing, you lose nothing. Because it is nothing new. It is only catalytic effect to keep the mind, be with your primary object, which is natural, which is tangible, verifiable, and neutral, and repetitive. So this is what the Buddha is reminding, sato vassa sati, sato passa sati. And if you can, you must try to give it to your beloved person. This is the best gift, rather than any other property. That is what the Buddha gave it to his own son, Rahula, this is what I have to give you. So not only that we ourselves enlightening, we have to set a role model by keeping the breath, that intrinsic thing with the living body, take this as a pivotal point. And some of the characters mentioned even in the book, in the essay itself. But you may attribute so much of good things as you continue to practice.
Dear Bhante, how do you suggest we build a strong meditation practice at home? How long should we sit for? Should it be the same amount of time every day? Same time every day, morning or evening? If it is not possible to do both.
So it says that Sakkacca kiriyaya sampadeti, Satacca kiriyaya sampadeti, Saddhaya kiriyaya sampadeti. Whenever you appreciated mindfulness, you can sharpen it by 3. Of course, there are 9. I am reminding 3. You have to do it with devotion, as if your prayer. Daily take a time and do this as the utmost thing for your well-being. Sakkacca kiriyaya sampadeti, do it regularly. Well, exactly the same thing, even 5 minutes, no problem. And Saddhaya kiriyaya sampadeti, do with utter respect. Don't do with left hand, do with both hands. Whatever you do, wholeheartedly. So that will give the relaxation place. Ultimately, mind will find this as asokang virajang kemang. It will naturally come for solitude, naturally come for the contentment. So therefore, even a householder, you must be regular. And you must do with utmost respect and with devotion. So I did 9 years before becoming a monk. And when Dhammik asked me, do it, but don't show others that you are doing. That was a very good secret. I am so sharp. I was living in a very small house. We are 13 people living inside. My family members 11, parents, and I have no time to sit. No place. And walking meditation also impossible. So I was doing brushing teeth and taking a bath and that kind of a thing. And lucky enough, I immediately go to the teacher and report. And he told, this is the best. Don't let others know that you are doing a regular practice. And of course, no one can catch you unless the other person is a meditator. Luckily at home, no meditators. I am the only person. So you have to take the mean advantage. The other secret is, the worldly people are very busy during the daytime and they are sleeping utterly in the night time. You have to get up in the night time and very sleepy in the daytime. No socialization, nothing. You think I am sleeping. And the night time, you go a little early to the bed and get up in the early morning. The whole world is a meditation center. To the morning, whole world is a meditation center. So you have to Rati Diva Sanya, Diva Rati Sanya. Whenever Sariputta says, take the day as night. Get the night perception. Get the night as the day. Just like an owl, O-W-L, owl. So he is a wise bird in the forest. Because he is very hiding in the daytime and very active in the night. So you have to follow suit.
Dear Bhante, I like jogging in addition to meditation. The jogging is for health of body and meditation is for the health of mind. However, jogging can make the mind active and cannot be calmed down. Is that possible if I do jogging first and then take meditation later in the morning?
So in between only the walking meditation happens. Not so much of activity, but you keep active more than sitting. So it go in between. It's like a pacemaker. So walking meditation, you have to do, after jogging, do little walking meditation with a slow pace. And then go to the sitting. Then the gradual process will happen. And once you do, if you have enough time, after 35 to 40 minutes, a whole body exercise happen by walking. Walking becoming everything warming up. It is like a warming up exercise for athletes. But by a few minutes time, it won't happen. 35, 45 minutes you have to continue, and the whole body you feel almost like jogging, but very calm and quiet. So therefore, put walking meditation in between jogging and sitting meditation, then it will be a gradual.
Dear Bhante, during tonight's session, finally the mosquitoes are not bugging me. When I closed my eyes, I knew I was not sleeping. I saw scenarios in my life. They kept changing. I found myself talking to myself as the scenarios changed. I was giving myself a walking tour. Is this normal for a beginner to meditation? Did I enter the trend of mind? If not, what can I try to enter the state of meditation?
Still the first sentence.
Yeah. During tonight's session, finally the mosquitoes are not bugging me. When I closed my eyes, I knew I was not sleeping. I saw scenarios in my life.
Yeah, so that means that whenever, okay, I will put it this way. Whenever we are awake, the eyes catching so much of visual objects. Ear is so much of sounds. Nose is searching for smells. Mouth is searching for taste. The body is changing the posture and asking different tactile sensation by thinking. Imagine you are in the night and not seeing, not hearing, not tasting, not touching, but the faculties are open. So what can happen is your inside library shots can come out in order to maintain the faculties. If you are not giving enough visual objects to the eye, the mind is making imageries and visuals. And the sound inside this thing makes sounds and smells, taste. So therefore, whenever you are not supporting introvert or bombarding signals, the mind-made things can come out. That is called catharsis. And that is kind of a healing process. Most worst thing or most aggressive thing, extreme things will push out first. So there you can understand what is inside this thing, inside your library shots. And whenever they are gone, the neutral thing will happen. And when that happens, sleeping is easier. Otherwise, they will get trapped into and becoming psychological wounds, no way to get out. The catharsis or counseling or free association is just let them to come out and rectify by themselves. Coming out itself is a healing process. But what is coming out first is the extreme issues, extreme good and extreme bad. So you have to be patient, let them come out. And the Buddha in one particular sutta, he says, if you can let them come out in this very life, it is less aggressive, but if it is carried to the next life, it will be aggravated 7 times in the next life and the life after that. So without postponing, let everything to balance before going to the sleep, balance it. The thing coming, letting it come out, it's kind of a confession. So it is not doing, it is happening. And that is a good way. If someone is suppressed and depressed and kind of thing, you have to let talk and you are listening. By listening, that the moment he or she touched the wound, the winding thing, it will disappear. So therefore, you are associating yourself. You understand who am I. Whenever you stop external stimuli, that is what we do in sitting. Close your eyes, go to a silent place, don't taste anything, do not go to a place where you have smells, and body also not moving intentionally, and they are, as a restraint, you cover them, and just see what is happening. Just like an open cattle yard, the most nearby cattle will jump out. likewise things are coming out. So otherwise you are not giving a fair chance for your mind to do the cleaning your house. And this book, this is the book, and I thank you very much. This is the book. This is the tidying your house. He's writing one essay. Whenever you know inputs, there's a kind of a tidying happens, and there you can understand what is the most extreme things happen. So it is good thing. It is, don't claim that I am doing. You can't do it. Only you can do is stop the inputs and then just wait. And then it's a catharsis process.
The metaphor of the sun as a disinfectant was a very helpful one. Thank you for that. Sometimes I feel hesitant to share or talk about my good qualities and achievements with others because I fear that they will also disappear when exposed to mindfulness or brought out into the open under the sun. Do good qualities also disappear when brought out into the open?
No, under the sun only the pathogenic bacteria will killed off, but the saprophytic bacteria remain. That means they can make decomposition and make compost. So be careful, the American government may impose taxes if they know it is a disinfectant. If they are finding all ways to tax you. So therefore don't tell others, just make use it and expose yourself. And it's monitoring and kind of a cleaning process. I have done agriculture, we are learning how to make compost. By exposure, all the pathogenic or virulent bacteria will kill off because they need a very specific pH range and the temperature range. They can't live under the sun. But the saprophytic bacteria can live under different vast differences of pH and temperature. They can live and they keep on decomposing. So you ultimately end up with a good compost by exposure. So therefore, mindfulness is a good sunlight. Let everything happen under the mindfulness, and their extreme nature will be slowly bringing back to the equilibrium or equipoised or equanimous situation. Happen very slowly. So you have to be patient.
Dear Bhante, when my meditation session is going well, in the sense that I am able to stay focused on my primary object, how do I prevent myself from slacking off and not put in effort to be mindful? Sometimes I seem to become complacent, and in my next meditation session, I seem to become very distracted again.
So that if I got the question, that may be due to the boredom and the monotony, because you are looking at one single object. So it can happen, ultimately it will, slimy mind will fall into the sleepy situation, that kind of a thing. Handling this question, when Jnanarama used to say, when you experience once, next time, go to sitting with that prepared mind. That will happen. As far as the mind is more time spending with the primary object, the sleepiness coming. Or monotony can come. Uncertainty can come. So therefore, if you go prepared, that's a kind of energy. The sliminess or the sloth and torpor can prevent it. So be prepared or be diligent is the way, because it's a very, very clear sign. The Buddha mentioned in the, I think, Anguttara Nikaya, it is called Sanimitta Vagga, as a 14 odd suttas, very simple. He says, each and every defilement arise with particular sign. Sanimitta ko bhikkhave upajati papaka kusala dhamma no animitta. No defilement arise without a sign. Whenever you see the sign is disappearing, defilements are disappearing. That means whenever the object become very not so aggressive and become calm, monotony and boredom can set in. But that indicates mind is with less and less defilements. So you have to facilitate it Only way you can do is go prepared, and then there won't be much of slimy mind or sloth and torpor.
Dear Bhante, can I use Dhamma or some variation of it, such as the truth, etc., as my primary meditation object, and use the breath as my secondary object?
No, you could be that the reality, this is, put it this way, common sense is the most uncommon thing on the earth. So therefore you don't know Dhamma. You don't know reality. You know what you like. So that is, if you are going to take as the primary object, you will never change. Because you impose, this is my Dhamma, that is what you think. Instead give a neutral object, breath. It is not giving any good or bad. So when and where you focus, Dhamma will come and see in terms of liking and disliking. There you can understand it. Otherwise, if you are going to a point, this is my Dhamma or this is my truth, of course it's a personal truth, not the universal truth. So let the universal truth to set in, and you keep the mind open by being mindful on the repetitive object, verifiable object, neutral object.
Dear Bhante, how can one develop right view? Does reading the teachings help develop right view? How is the right view related to mindfulness?
So, before starting the whole series, I took Anuggahita Sutta. The Buddha says, Panchai bhikkhave anuggahita sammaditthi ceto vimutti palacha ceto vimutti palani samsacha. Panya vimutti palacha panya vimutti palani samsacha. You have a kind of a view. If you wish to straighten it, you have to facilitate in 5 ways. You have to introduce morality. You have to listen to others. You have to have a discussion, so rapport, dialogue like this. And you have to practice concentration, you have to practice wisdom. That is the way straightening of the view can happen. So therefore, straightening of the view is what we call, straight view is the thing what we call sammaditthi. So you have to understand we have a kind of a view. We have to straighten it by these 5 ways. That's why we started with that particular sutta.
Dear Bhante, we are told to just observe. If there has been an issue that was bothering us, that we put away to the side, because it was too overwhelming. Later on, when our mindfulness is strong, can we revisit that issue voluntarily, or do we have to wait for that issue to come up again automatically or individually?
So you have to keep my little distance and read it again.
Yeah. I'm having trouble with this.
You are keeping the paper away, but the mic is very close.
The paper, I'm having problem with the writing. So many questions have come like this. It's very difficult, tiny handwriting. So
no, I am telling you the distance of your mic.
Yeah, but my problem is this.
Yeah.
Anyway, let us. Dear Bhante, we are told just to observe. If there has been an issue that was bothering us, that we put away to the side, because it was too overwhelming. Later on, when our mindfulness is strong, can we revisit that issue voluntarily, or do we have to wait for that issue to come up again automatically or individually?
So if that is something related to your life and it's carrying a very strong message, it will come. And you have to understand, when you are driving in a car, specifically not like in New York, but in Sri Lanka, so many other cars and animals and people on the road. So you can't expect your avenue to be clear. So when you are going, don't expect others not to come. They are coming. But if you are hit with an accident, you have to pay 50% because you have avoided that. Not avoiding the accident, you have to pay 50%. So therefore, you have to take care. Once accident happen, 50% you have to pay. So likewise, when you are riding, likewise when you are driving in the meditation, once you introduce the primary object, you can't expect primary object only to happen. So much of distractions happen. So therefore, amidst of all the distraction, still if you can have a view with, you can have at your eye shot, the primary object is a great achievement. Don't try to push away all the other distractions. You have to navigate in such a way, not met with an accident, but be with the primary object. The question is whether we do a direct approach to all what we have left, or whether they will appear again, depending on whether that carries a strong message and it is important. So therefore, as far as you keep the track with the primary object, others will happen. And in Visuddhimagga, there's a specific statement. It says, Yata pakatang vipassana biniveso, pacha anupahattante nivi upayena upattapetta sammasitabang. First, go by the priority. Go by the conspicuous one. And if the primary object is the conspicuous and priority, don't worry about the others. But other things come and block you, and if that become priority, take it as your object of meditation, because there's no other way. And whatever the left behind, you can later think once the mindfulness straightened. And so as far as the mindfulness is gathering momentum, take the refuge of the primary object. Once the mindfulness gathers the momentum, you can equally compare primary object and the secondary objects equally, provided mindfulness is strong. So till that, you have to be strategic.
Evante, Vipassana seems to use mindfulness to attain Nibbana, while Samatha uses concentration. This seems to suggest that the concentration factor of the eightfold path is not necessary for Nibbana. Am I misunderstanding? What is the point of distinguishing Samatha from Vipassana? Both seem necessary.
Yeah, that Ajahn Chah, he was a Thai master. He was the only one I have seen, not distinctly separate Samatha and Vipassana. He is talking about mindfulness. And therefore, less and less friction, theoretical. On the Pandita Sayadaw's answer will give explanation will give an answer for this one. He says, Samatha is like anesthesia for the operation, and Vipassana is the cutting open and the operation. So if the operation going to take long time, you have to give very long anesthesia. If it is a superficial part, you can do with normal anesthesia or local anesthesia. So anesthesia is the part related to the Samatha. So without that, still you can cut. That is what the barefoot doctors do in the warfares and the battlefield. And in Sri Lanka also we have kind of a operation system. It's no anesthesia, to cut open. Specifically the wounds and the boils and eye operation they do without anesthesia. But it is not growing, because many people are not happy to expose for this kind of operation. So compare it with anesthesia and the operation. They are going hand in hand. So you have to compare. You have to, see the practical value, utility value of the both.
Dear Bhante, in the 12 links of dependent origination is one to address the root of dukkha, suffering, at the link of tanha, which you said one should prevent by vigilant mindfulness of feelings, or at the link of ignorance, avijja. What is the relationship between ignorance and tanha?
Ignorance and tanha. So ignorant is related to the panya vimutti, tanha is related to the cheto vimutti. That's the two kinds of liberation the Buddha mentioned. Cheto vimutti, panya vimutti. Cheto vimutti, whenever you get rid of or tackle the tanha, the desire, that way is called cheto vimutti. Whenever you are going to tackle it with ignorance, with the help of wisdom, and when you break that link, the vicious cycle break, that is called panya vimutti. two different things. That is called samatha and vipassana, and Ceto Vimutti and Panya Vimutti.
Dear Bhante, I am a devout Catholic who has a 22-year-old only son who is preparing to be a Buddhist monk. My questions are, what can I do as a mother to help my son be who he wants to be? 2, what are the limits of my son's responsibilities to his parents once he becomes a monk? 3, will I still be able to see and spend time with him, and how often?
So when I am asking this question, of course I was emotionally, soon I came to know about mindfulness, I thought best thing is to do 100% full-time meditation. And Venerable Dhammika, he told, don't do it, because ultimately you will disrobe next day. Because I am such a dynamic person, I can't. Then I told Bhante, don't disturb me, because if it is so, let me have sense pleasure. Don't introduce mindfulness. Then he told, do mindfulness, practice mindfulness till you feel monkhood or lay life is both the same. Till that you have to be mindful. And there it is not a big decision, even to the particular person. So if you are taking the parental role, ask that particular person to be mindful, whereby he can take shocks. Whether he become a lay or monk, no problem. That is the point, he is qualified to become a monk. So I think that will answer the general questions.
Dear Venerable Bhante, the 11 facets of looking at mind and body, are they related to impermanent suffering and not self? Example, current feelings are changing, so was the past, and so willing be in the future. My feelings changes, not me, mine. Others' feelings are same way.
Yeah, you can put it in the impermanent suffering and the non-governability, and you can, that help you to not to get worried, not to be frustrated, because you have only seen one facet. You have to wait and see 10 more facets. So when you see everything, issue is different. We are rushing because we have the partial knowledge. As far as we have the partial knowledge, we are very adamant and we are forcing. Whenever you see the totality, there's no tension. So the 11th facet is going to answer the question in number of ways, and that what you have presented also valid way.
There are 2 questions. I personally feel they are not related to practice. One is about your life and how you became a monk and all that.
One day I gave a talk on that, because not any daily asking.
Yeah.
I don't know where that video clip, because I am utterly mindful and utterly forgetting everything.
Yeah.
And so I am telling, be mindful and mind your own business, please. Rather than poking fingers into my personality. I'm angry.
Yeah, I know that.
So best thing is to ask Wilson. Wilson, he knows for the last 10 years or so. And recently one person asked that, what is your young age? In a paper interview. Then I told, still I am young. It is not gone and went. I am ever young. So starting. So we'll put into the unanswered box.
Start writing your biography, autobiography, and then that question will never be asked again.
You can ask Bhante Bhikkhu Bodhi. Everyone are interested in. So best thing is to give kind of a standard one, but I doubt whether it will represent reality. So I will try to find that the clip if possible and give it to Vincent, and he can share with others.
The writer believes that such thing will also give them inspiration. So we'll talk about that later. Then there is the other question about Buddha's mudra, Virochana Buddha and the mudra that he showed.
So that is the Putimutta.
No. What is the importance of this Virochana, yeah?
Virochana.
Virochana Buddha And the mudra that he is holding.
Mudra.
Yeah, mudra.
So that we are not specializing that. In Theravada, there are some. Whenever you are doing rituals and kind of thing, different mudras available. And just like your bodily postures having yogic asana, the hands also have different this thing. So whenever you become mindful, try to be mindful, you are just forgetting about that kind of thing. Not that it is not important. There are some people are specialized. I am not on that. And Theravada also, and in Burma, they are so serious about them. But whenever they are selecting a statue, they go by this thing. And Pandita Sayadaw, my teacher, he used to say, instead of Dhatu Cheti, try to venerate Dhammajiva. Dhatu Cheti means the Buddha's remnants and what is used and what is figures and kind of thing called Dhatu Cheti. Dhammajiva means for foundation of mindfulness. So as far as you are keen and be mindful, it is more than Dhatu Cheti. Whenever that one Buddha before the Sakya Muni was known as Kassapa, the Buddha, he says, Dhammajiva samusettva Kassapo parinibbuto. He tried to uplift Dhammajiva rather than Dhatu Cheti. After uplifting the Dhammajiva, he passed away, fate passing away. So whenever you are trying to be mindful, keep the mind very simple, innocent and honest with the present moment rather than this kind of thing. I am again telling, it is not, I am not telling it is important. There are some sects and people they are finding important. I am not in that kind.
So
we have already taken 25 minutes more. But anyway, before finishing the session, as a custom, we'll ask if there are any other questions to be presented to the audience, please.
Bhante, if Buddha taught a certain way, why are there different methods? You have like the Theravada, then you have the Mahayana, and then within the Mahayana there's so many different orders, and then the Vajrayana. So for me, it's very confusing. Last year I took 3 months off and I went to study in a Buddhist monastery, and I had no idea that I was going to go into something completely different than I had experienced before, and it turned out to be like a Pure Land Buddhist monastery. And in that monastery, they just wanted me to like read the Amitabha Sutra and just to say Amitabha all the time. So it's completely different than anything that I had ever experienced, and it was one of the hardest things in my life. As a practitioner looking for the right lineage in my teacher, how do I find it? Like someone suggested to me like last year to go to Sri Lanka, and I was very frightened. But now that I met you, and you speak English, I'm excited to know that there are people who can actually pass on the knowledge, who do speak my language and will understand me. If you can give a little bit more information for people who are a little bit more serious on the path, how do we really find what is right for us when there are so many different lineages? And especially like some of the top teachers are in different countries. Does it matter if we remain in the United States and cultivate in an American monastery? Or will we progress faster? Or does that even matter if we go like far away? Thank you.
The early part of the question that if there is any standard method, or if the Buddha's teaching is with the unified standard way, it depends on the receiver. It is called Desana Vilasa. Number of ways Buddha tackled according to their personality traits. So there are a number of ways. So that is why we have 15,000 odd number of suttas even within the Theravada. And they are Samatha and Vipassana. And it is also changing. So therefore, very difficult to say a hard and fast answer. And on top of that, we have the Mahayana and Vajrayana and kind of thing. So therefore, you have to see which one is going to reduce your stress, which one is going to reduce your tension, and that is the criteria. Whatever going to increase your tension and the frustration, you have to understand you are adding more questions than answers. So we have to practically test it and see which one is clearing the simplicity, a straightforward way. Of course, even the mindfulness, if you take it as a very simple, at the beginning there's a tension to learn mindfulness and practice. And then you can experience it within 7 days or maximum 7 years. So therefore, very difficult to someone to directly prescribe something. Best thing is to taste something and see what is going to give the least amount of friction. And as far as the going to Sri Lanka or remaining in the USA, I would say if you are increasing the time period within a day to be in mindful, that will be a very pragmatic way, wherever it may be. Because in Sri Lanka, people are very near and relating and forking fingers into your life. But in USA, don't care. You can live your life. So from Sri Lankan point of view, this is more monastic kind of. If you go to Canada, the whole area is like a monastery. No one is worried about. If you wish to visit, you have to give a telephone call and make an appointment. But if you go to Sri Lanka, always they come and tap on your door. And because you are a white person, they make VIP. So ultimately, it become a nuisance. One person, the foreign monk, fallen sick, and he was living in a far-away kuti. Every person come and say hello, and they keep the door open, and mosquitoes are coming. So he has to come again to the door and close the door. And another person come and say, hello, Bhante, how are you? You need paspango, so this and that, and keep the door open. He says, please, please, let me have my solitude. Because he being a white monk, become an attraction for everyone. So they have their pros and cons. But I firmly telling, to the mindfulness, all these are becoming null and void. You try to be mindful, wherever you may be. So mindfulness will give a least frictional path. But mindfulness can use in a secular way. Mindfulness can use as a religious way. So at the beginning, safely you can say, practice it in a secular way and see your internal motivation and the personality traits. And don't rush the final goal. When the mindfulness at the beginning, I give Sattanam Visuddhya, purification of the heart and the mind. That's the Buddha assured. And with that only you can go into the deeper players, and we put into the simple English, lack of tension, lack of frustration. So now anyway, world is lucky. When compared to the more than 40 years, now people are little religious. Every religion is improving. And I see what is the role of mindfulness in this game. I find it is gathering momentum. So wherever you may be, try to keep your solitude mindfully, and then your options are more open when you continue to be mindful, without rushing to that particular sect or that particular place or that particular teacher. Mindfulness is, Buddha says, one and the only way. Ekayano ayambhikkhave maggo. So I would like to re-emphasize that. Okay, we have 30 minutes for walking meditation, and after that we'll be coming here for another session of sitting, group sitting. Thank you very much for participation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.